Opening up the box. This is so not easy. It's stuck. So everyone, in this video you're gonna see a little bit of a mix and match between what was in essence probably a month in total. A little bit of work done on each of the occasions that I went over to my brother's house to work on the actual GTR. I couldn't commit all the time to just getting it all done. I had other things going on, but it was really exciting to be able to work on the car like that. It's something different. And yeah, it's pretty much an enjoyable process. I actually wanted to do the exhaust in this garage a while back, but that didn't go through. But I did record a little bit from that intention of doing that video back then, and also getting original sound clip. So here is a clip with the original sound, I guess, of the exhaust from before. Yes, I'm actually still working on the bodywork for the GTR. Can't die from carbon monoxide. So hello everyone, I am carrying on from the last video with the GTR. It's actually been a good few weeks since I fixed the clutch, but I haven't had time to come around and do the rest of the stuff like fitting the exhaust and the coilovers. So that's the plan for today. So it's going to be a bit of a rush. It's actually already in the afternoon now, and yeah, so with the car I came around a few days ago just to undo the wheels and take them all off, because funnily enough, the locking bolt, I never took that off Steve. And when I called him up, be like, I don't remember getting this off you. And he was like, there's no way I would have kept that with me. And then literally, he just opened the drawers and was like, unless it's this. And I was like, yeah.
5-year-old.
Huh?
There's a 5-year-old here.
Yep. My little nephew is here as well with me, being the energy in the environment right now. And it's always good to have youngsters, you know, getting involved with seeing the car builds. He's actually got a couple of cars to build here as well himself. Okay, what car do you have to build?
It's an R32.
Yeah, and what one's your dad's?
An R33.
And what car am I building today?
A Skyline.
Which one? R32. Yeah, good job. I've actually cracked on with a few bits and pieces because I managed to remove the 4 bolts holding on the downpipe. They're kind of stressful, and you know, because they're literally attached to the turbo, I was kind of like, if I struggle with this, then I'm basically not going to carry on. If I can get those 4 bolts off, taking my time with them, then I will carry on with the rest of today, because otherwise I would have just kept the exhaust on, stuck the exhaust bolts on as good as I could, and just done the coilovers and called it a day. But yeah, so this is going well so far. I got those 4 bolts off. So yeah, with the rest of the exhaust, I can just take off the exhaust mounts and the whole thing will basically come off. So right now I'm actually just removing the rear bumper off again, because it'll make it a little bit easier to get to the rear mounts, the rubber mounts for the back box. And the rest of them underneath the car, they're going to be a bit awkward, but good old W40, a long screwdriver, hopefully I'll be all right with it. So let's see how it goes. Okay, leave it there. Stop. Drop it.
All the way?
Yeah, just drop it onto the wheel.
And here you've got the zero thing.
So that's that part. Now.
And you see down there is the exhaust.
We did it. Isaac, what did we do?
We did it.
Yeah. Right. With my brother's help and my nephew's encouragement, managed to get the exhaust off. It is all underneath there. So I think the downpipe was basically really stuck onto the turbos. So that was, it took some yanking. I was hitting it with a hammer for a while just to like get a little bit of movement. And then my brother just was like, you know what, let me just try. He went underneath, pulled it a little, and he got some good movement out of it. So I think that really helped. And I'll be honest, I think it helped a lot more than I give credit for, because when I was underneath there, I was like, wait a minute, where I was hitting, it was hitting the before the flexible part of the downpipe. So it was still not really sending all the force up to the top. So yeah, big thank you to my brother for that. That is the full exhaust underneath there. So that's great news, because that means shortly I'll be able to start putting the new exhaust together and matching them up. But actually, you know what, let's just take this exhaust out and have a look at the two next to each other. And voila, there is the full exhaust. So you can see what I mean about this part when I would be hitting it. This side is fine, but on this I'm gonna get loads of flexibility. I need to take this exhaust mount off as well, so hopefully it's not too difficult, but yeah, I'm so happy. Actually, maybe I should get new hangers. We'll figure it out. The old exhaust, the new one, I'll just bring it out and put it next to it for the time being. Everyone, here is the exhaust next to each other. My brother's putting my little niece to sleep, kind of, but after I finished recording. But you can see the difference in between the exhaust. Well, actually, from the D-Cat onwards, pretty similar. I think they're both the same width. It looks like, what, 3-inch? I think they're both 3-inch, but if you can see here, a lot less sharp of a bend compared to there. That's pretty much like two 90-degree angles, whereas this is a lot more smoother. And you can see the actual size difference between the exhaust back boxes as well. This is quite a quiet exhaust, so it's going to be a lot of baffling inside of there. But the actual tips look pretty similar in size. In fact, fist, yeah, they're pretty much the same. Obviously that's got bubble wrap still on it. The main differences are the D-Cat here versus there. That one is in essence same kind of diameter as over there, probably what, 2.5 inch, whereas this, it does obviously go down a little bit towards the ends, but it's a lot bigger. Who's it by R something, RSP, Rising Sun Performance, as my brother quickly updated me. In fact, that and that is actually from my brother. He actually got this and he was going to modify this to fit his 33, but it's for a 32, and now I have a 32. He was like, well, actually, why don't you keep that and he'll get something different for his car. This is an equal length downpipe. So who, sorry? Rimax. So Rimax downpipes, because they're equal length, you can see the difference in the rear turbo piping. It goes under and then round, whereas on here with the stock setup, it just goes straight down. And you can compare the thickness of that, which, just look at the size of it compared to the actual flange, compared to these guys, which I say is probably about 1/2 inch thicker at least in diameter. And yeah, I think even the way it kind of joins up over here is probably underneath this heat wrap. It's going to be a bit more of a cleaner finish. That was genuinely, I actually didn't realize this until talking to my brother just now. After all of the things that I've done with cars, this is the first time I've removed an exhaust, and I'm actually quite surprised by that. I have had an exhaust on my Civic and stuff before, but I never fitted it on myself. Even with the 6 Series, the exhaust work that I had done to that, I never did it myself. So this is actually the first time I've been able to do my own exhaust, and I'm super excited, super happy. But there is right about the mounts on these. This probably will fit a little differently against the bumper, and even this mount, actually, this is on this side, whereas that is on the other side. So a couple of differences. I think that's been broken off on this one, so that mount wasn't actually in place previously. But right, gonna get a couple of pictures of this now, then start taking off some of the suspension work and get ready to put the coilovers on. So I've given myself a little bit of a reset. I've put my brother's tools all back, and yeah, now it is time to start tackling removing some of the suspension parts. Now, actually on the 32, it seems to be something that's quite easy to do, because for example with the rears, you just got the 2 bolts top of the rear. Like, you just got to remove the fabric mounts. What am I talking about? The fabric trim pieces on the sides, you just got to remove those, and you got the 2 bolts at the top. So I'm gonna loosen those and then tackle the one underneath, just because get these a little bit loose and then tighten them back up. just to make sure that you know you can. Do the same on the front as well. So I think on the front it's just one bolt holding it on, and on the rear it might be a nut and bolt, or it could just be a single bolt. So there's the shock there, just this guy that needs to come off. So time to get good old WD-40 out for the bottom of the car and just tackle those. But I already came over yesterday to WD-40 them, so they should be a little bit lubricated. This should just be something, you know, just get it done and we'll be all good. So yeah, time to just loosen up some bolts. I've got myself a nice little seat, and this lower bolt, you gotta kind of be careful with it because it ends up getting really dirty at the end. So I'm taking my time using the extra long 3/4 inch ratchet from the Halfords tool set, which is a very good item. Obviously breaker bar is easier to use, but this is obviously ratchet. Let's see how far I can go with the ratchet. It's basically off now, which is a really good sign. My left arm is currently getting a proper workout. Yep, that's it. It's off. I would have put more WD-40 on by now, but would have just eased off a little bit of the tension, but there it is. Whew. There should be a little washer on there as well. There's the washer. I probably will need to use the jack, lift up the suspension a little bit just to relieve a little bit of tension, and then use a screwdriver to just slide that off of there. Undo the top bolts as well, and yeah, but let's go to the other side and get the same things off there. You know what, I'm grabbing the torch to show you guys. If you look just on there, I've just cracked it a little bit more loose, and you can just start seeing some of the dirt coming off. Let's carry on. I've broken it a little bit more with the long breaker bar ratchet. Hopefully the ratchet has long enough leverage on it, because it's still a lot shorter than the breaker bar, but it's not the worst. It's good. It's good. I can't complain too much. That's good. Some good old WD-40 added on again. Last thing I want to do is mess this up, but yeah, that's a WD-40. This side has been a lot harder than the other one. The heat that I can feel through the socket. If only I had a way of recording that. If I show you guys, that whole brown patch, that's just putting WD-40 on there and letting the rust just drip down. So it's nearly off now, which is, I feel like it's taken a lot longer than I thought it would on this side, but to the top two nuts off, and yeah, this shock is out. Been able to get all the suspension off now as well, which has been fun. To be honest, I'm exhausted from always working. I feel like my body's starting to feel like it needs a break. But there is the old suspension. Man, I feel like, you know, doing all the ambient light installs and stuff, life is so much easier when you're dealing with interiors and clean parts, not dealing with rust. But this was a bit more challenging. And good old workout though. But yeah, so the rears, they're off, fronts are off, and you can see, yeah, they're definitely crusty. I think at the moment, yeah, you can see everything's off. It's actually pretty easy, just in certain points, just using a breaker bar just to make it a bit loose. Like, for example, on the front, just putting a breaker bar in here and popping it off, it will just pop off. And with the rears, putting a breaker bar through this point here will just allow you to wedge the whole thing off. You need to slide it off that way. Ideally 2 people, but I did it on my own, not too shabby. And obviously we've got the top bolts at the top to take off. But this isn't really so much about exactly how to do the coilover install. This is more about just getting it done and then kind of reviewing the coilovers afterwards. There's the coilovers underneath there. Yeah, how about we open it? Wifey's here helping me. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a beautiful moment for me. Isaac, are you ready to come and see it?
Yeah.
We're opening up the box. Thumbs up. Right.
So let's see what it is.
Hey guys.
Whoa. Okay, Trisha.
Oh, yes.
Wow.
Whoa. Look at that. Look at the coilovers.
Seen it.
Now he just wants to look at his own toys. And today is the day where I'm gonna put the coilovers on and hopefully put the exhaust back on and get the car down on the ground. Right, it's time to open up the coilovers properly. You know, last time I was here, I just opened it up just to have a quick look, but time to actually get a set out, fitting them on. So the one thing I wish I kind of did was get some coilover covers. They're really cool, I think, in terms of keeping them nice and protected, but at the same time I'm just going to apply some copper grease onto them. But right, so tightened at specified torque. Okay, so apparently these coilovers are already set. Ooh, these are nice. These are really nice. But I'm gonna actually leave the height and stuff as it is, and then later on I'll look at adjusting the height wherever it might need to go. I want to kind of have the car with a good height, a lot of cardboard. Move that out of the way. Let's figure out which one goes exactly where, because these bushes on the front ones are slightly different on each side. So I need to see and understand myself exactly which way they're gonna go. I think the rears are pretty much just bolt on, so they don't really matter too much. But just over here, you can see one side's slightly more out than the other, so I want to make sure I'm fitting them on the right way. So here's a cool little thing. I've just sat here just looking through the book for the coilovers. Now, I don't know if this is the norm or not, but inside the Teen Flex Z booklet, it gives you a full diagram of how to remove them. So it shows you like all the steps that you have to go through to removing the old ones, getting the new ones kind of ready and set and stuff. And the interesting one there is this one just here. So you know how I said about the bush being out on one side more? So the front two are in essence exchangeable between the two sides, but that extra bushing needs to be closer to the actual hub, so the bit that it's going onto, as you can see just there. The reason for that is so that the shock, because it's in essence thinner than the rest of the original shocks and stuff in one way, if you do it the wrong way, then it will basically hit the actual hub of the car. So you want to avoid that. Do this. I'm gonna leave the height of the shocks as they are at the moment probably, and then work it out once I drop the car down later on. How high do I want it? How low do I want it? I'm not going for crazy lows, so that's why I'm kind of happy to see what height it comes in stock. Just gonna make sure the fronts and the rears are all basically matched up side to side, and yeah, just fit them on and see what Teen give you as a standard fit. And I have to say, like, I'm so in love with this car. It is, just the fact that I own an R32 GTR is so cool. It still doesn't feel real to me. And I guess because I haven't driven the car in a while and I don't always drive it, it doesn't always feel real. I wish this was a good few years ago when you wouldn't have minded daily driving this all the time and not feel too worried. But yeah, it's surreal to own one of these, and I wouldn't mind getting it to the point where I do drive it all the time. So yeah, bit by bit we're getting there, everyone. We're getting there. We're gonna get the car out and about as much as we can, get some good activities going with it. So after a little bit of placing around, I can see that they're all pretty much at the exact same length as each other. So the rears are the same length and the fronts are the same length. So I'm literally just gonna fit them on as it is. And then, like I said, once I got the car down, once I've driven it around a little bit and stuff, I'll probably look at readjusting everything to get to that perfect ride height that I want it to be at. And yeah, up next is basically going to be just bolting these things up. And oh, actually, one of the other things that I did was I compared the height of these next to some stock ones. So for example, this is the front, and as you can see, it's about a whole 1.5 inches shorter, and rears is pretty much the same. Like I said, just there, yep, about 1.5 inches. So much harder to do that with just one arm, but I still got a little bit of strength behind me. But yeah, I'm gonna bit by bit just start putting these coilovers back on. I'm actually super excited to see the coilovers on the car and just, you know, having it that little bit lower. So, you know, the car's been on stock height for a while and it definitely doesn't suit that as much. You know, it looks great if the car's completely stock looking. You can pull it off as a stock car, but this car doesn't look stock. It definitely isn't stock. And with the paintwork and everything, I don't think it looks that good in that height. So yeah, excited. Let's go. One of the reasons why I've actually been putting the wheels back on after fitting the coilovers on is because it makes space so much better. As you can see from this side, it is so much clearer up on the floor. You know, it's just one less thing to move around and stuff. It's a bit of a weird one. I'm going to be obviously fitting the coilovers and everything on right now, and then later on, probably in a couple of weeks or so, I'm going to jack the car all the way back up again and just double check the nut and bolts underneath, just to make sure everything's on nice and tight. Not just the suspension, but also the exhaust system. Again, you kind of want to just make sure these things, last thing you want is something to come off when you're driving the car. It shouldn't be too bad. I'm doing them all down to spec. The bottom bolts should be 79 foot-pounds. And the top ones are like 29 or something. Top ones you can kind of do nicely with just a normal ratchet and stuff. And yeah, should be fun. I realized that whoever fitted the old shocks on before, these nuts were not the right ones for, and yeah, I don't know how they managed to get the old ones to fit. I remember it being super hard to take off, and now it makes sense why, because they're not the right size. So I've kind of cross-threaded one of the studs on the other side, so I'm going to basically fix that and then put that one back on properly. So it's a little bit annoying. It's one of those things where you just wish you just didn't have to go through, but now you do. But right, I'm going to get this side all done, get these ones all buttoned up and everything. One thing I am going to do actually is, whilst I do have some of the nuts and bolts off, kind of for the exhaust more than anything, is I'm just going to replace as many nuts and bolts as I can. There's been a lot of new ones that I already sent out with the catback exhaust, but for the studs coming from the turbo elbows down to the downpipe and the decat and stuff, they're going to be old bolts, so I'm just going to change those and get some new ones and stuff. So I want to get those ready in a bit. I'm excited to have the car back on with wheels, because it's never the most comfortable thing knowing that the car can just drop and there's no wheels on it, so it'll literally be the sashi down to the floor. So it's just nice to know that the wheels are on there.
Tomorrow.
Okay, that's too loud for how late it is here. Whoa. I recorded on my phone as well. Jeez. Okay, I thought the car would be loud, but I was not expecting it to be that loud. That was, honestly, that's too loud. It's actually dark right now. It's like 9 p.m. Just finished off another install and stuff, so yeah, I thought give it a quick try, see what it sounds like before I put the exhaust on. But that's just too loud, and I can't do that to my brother's neighbors and stuff, so that's why that was only a short clip. I don't know, that sounded intense. That sounded way louder than I thought it would. Way louder. I you know, when I put the poll up on Instagram, people were like, you know, it might not sound that great and stuff, but That sounded like a race car. That was impressive. That was intense. But right, okay. Time to get the exhaust on, hopefully. So today I'm going to focus on the downpipe and stuff. So yeah, what's next? So I've got the wire brush with me to clean off the turbo elbows and stuff, just to get them a little bit more of a clean surface, so that when I put the new gasket on and stuff, it'll all sit nice and flush. I'll be honest, it's not the most fun to be underneath a car most of the time. Sometimes it's not too bad, but majority of the time it's not the most fun. Currently what I'm looking at, so I need to clean both of those up as best as I can. I don't know how this is gonna go. Tomorrow for sure. It's time to try turning the GTR on again. That's so loud. Success. So I've actually bought this really long flathead screwdriver to help me get rid of any excess gasket on the turbo elbows, and yeah, connect it up to the downpipe. Should be fun. You ideally don't want to use this. You ideally just want it to just peel off or just scrape off, but it's on there so tight, and using something like this is better than leaving what's on there on. I soaked it down with WD-40 before I left last time, so fingers crossed that all helps. But yeah, I'll update you guys on how this goes shortly. And after several days, what it felt like being underneath the car, this is where I've gotten it to. Let me take you guys off the little tripod. So that's the first one, that's the second one, and it's basically smooth right now. It's good enough to actually put the gaskets on and get the downpipe fitted. I'm kind of, like I said earlier, I'm not too upset if it's not a perfect smooth surface, because one, I'll be honest, I don't think you'll get to that point without taking everything off and actually fully smoothing it out with a machine of some sort, because those gaskets were literally stuck on there. And obviously, as I mentioned earlier, with the new turbos going on in the future, you know, it's one of those things where I don't really need to just get so crazy with it. And you know, with the actual metal gaskets here, you know, they do get squashed in a little bit, so it obviously compresses, so it brings down any air gaps to a very, 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 very small percentage that it would have been at right now if it was just straight metal to metal. Yeah, hopefully it won't be too bad. I'm going to put some copper grease onto the bolts from the turbo elbow, because like I said, I'm going to be removing these things in the near future. I'd rather put the grease on now, tighten everything up, so that when it comes to taking them off in the future, it'll come off nicely. I've got some new nuts to put on as well, so that will just create a better process for me. Don't have to worry about the rusty ones previously, because they're not that clean inside, which, you know, it's never the best thing. So hopefully this is the right way forward. Go for it. Where the gloves at? The hole on them is massive compared to the hole coming out of the turbos. Gaskets are on. Oh no! Fail attempt one. Let's try that again. These gaskets don't keep falling off. Oh, no, come on. Oh, you serious right now? Oh, no, where did I put them? There they are. Okay, there's one. Gaskets are on all the way. Lovely. Right, let's get these bad boys Next one. Oh, what the hell? How the hell am I supposed to get to that now? Downpipe is not easy to refit the nut and bolts on with. I actually have zero idea how you're supposed to tighten this up afterwards, but we're just gonna try and figure it out bit by bit, because that is definitely not as easy as it was with removing the other one. What the hell? How are you supposed to genuinely fit that on? So the downpipe is on now. Luckily, I was able to get up so much more of that old gasket. It was terrible, the amount of gasket that was just stuck to the turbo elbows, but it's all right. The downpipe is on and the decat is on now. So up next, I'm gonna put the back box on, which is gonna be hopefully not the worst to do on my own, but we'll see how it goes. And along with the back box, the last piece I'm gonna put on is the mid pipe. Once I got the back box on, that's got a little bit of support on it with the mounts, that will be able to stay in place. The decat doesn't really add a huge amount of weight to the downpipes, so it's kind of like it's okay to float there. But the mid pipe, well, as you guys can see, it's only really got that one mount there and it's not really as supported as others, so I'm gonna focus on putting that one on last. That's the mindset at the moment. Hopefully it goes on all right. As you guys all know, with working on cars, it can always go terribly wrong very quickly. Let's get the back box on, which, oh, look at how clean it is. These are just some like marks from storage and air condensation, really. Get to take this off. I'll take that off right at the end. Bismillah. Let's get this mid pipe on. Sorry dog, I left over there with me. Eggs. This is so not easy. Hello everybody. Actually, let's got it right. So, oh damn it. I'm trying to get everything on, but it's so much harder. And because it's an axle stand, it's not as easy as you would think. Ah, there we go. My brother was right. Copper grease works really good there on the rubber mounts. Jeez. Oh my god, it's on. Ah. Quick. Let's look at it. Woo. Yo, it's got the angle. It's got angle. Right. I won't take the exhaust thing off till right at the end, but my brother will know what I mean. But angle, the good old Japanese look, where it's just angled slightly outwards. Ooh, I'm so excited to see that. After this is on, put the wheel on and the car's basically ready until we have to change the ride height or anything else. Nah, the clutch will work. Maybe we should put the wheels on, turn the car on. Ooh.
I'll open the garage door for that in case we're flying.
No, because the jack's still underneath. I don't want that to happen. But yeah, right. Right, everyone, the exhaust is on. The exhaust is on finally. Taking all the wrapping off. Just a second. Make sure it's in neutral, which it should be. Ooh, that sounds good. Oh, it sounds real nice. What was that? Yeah, I'm gonna look for some leaks right now. So, get underneath. A little bit of a leak. Just there. That's fine, just a little leak just over there. So I gotta tighten that one up. That's alright, so it's the back part of the decat I need to tighten up, which I'm a bit confused with, but it's alright. Do you want to do the going into clutch? Huh? You want me to do it? Okay. My brother's gonna record this. So just to test out the clutch, we'll do it from that side. Are they spinning? No. that?
Yeah.
Ah, that's sick. Car's basically ready to get down to the floor tomorrow. I gotta bring wood. It's the next day. I'm already straight over here, straight after I've done some work on another car today, another install, but right, time to get the car down to the ground. So because the car's so high up, I'm gonna do the rear of it halfway back down and then completely lower the front and then completely lower the rear, only because last thing I want is to completely lower the rear and then the front kind of slips off or anything like that. I'm just being extra cautious. So this is one of the things where having a quick jack or a lift system would have really sped the process up, but it's all right. We will continue. So I'm just gonna do that now. And the next bit, you'll see the car basically on the ground. It's stuck.
Huh?
I think because I've lowered the front fully and the rear's not fully low. The front's too low right now.
Put them back. Lift it up.
So I'm gonna put some bricks on the front to get that lower. And now, because it was too low, as you guys saw earlier, but hopefully this is gonna be all good for the rear. Yes! The car is officially down on all fours. Right. It will settle. It's good. Good ride height at the moment, I feel. I'm not going for a crazy low look at the moment. I want it to be nice, fast road setup. So when you actually have a look at it, it looks a lot better than it was. We'll let this all settle in and stuff. But yeah, time to get the car off all the bricks and take it out for a nice little drive. Actually, before I do that, I'm gonna check all the wheel nut tightness and yeah, exciting. And I've got everything off the car that I need to, move everything around. So now's a good time to take the car out of the garage. I just remembered how we brought it in here, using the starter motor to crank it all. Oh, sounds so much better. So much louder. Can you do some filming? So in essence, that is the end of the whole saga of this car being in my brother's garage after the clutch slave failed on me. So yeah, everything's done now. So the coilovers are on, the exhaust is on, and obviously the new clutch slave. Fingers crossed the car won't be off the road like that ever again in the future. If it is, it's going to be off the road for a planned reason, which is always going to be a little bit nicer and a little bit more comforting on the heart. This was basically, as you guys saw, it was over a good while. It wasn't just one day I got to do it all. All the work that got done to the car got done little by little. You know, sometimes I used to go over at like 9 p.m. and finish off at 12. Taking off the exhaust gaskets was horrible. That probably took near enough as long as it took for me to actually remove the exhaust completely. Yeah, that part was horrible. It generated, I think, in total I spent about 4 to 5 hours just trying to get as much of the gasket off, because you end up trying to just get it off, and you just take off such a small amount. It's horrible. Got there in the end. The good thing is the car, it drives amazing. I'll do a full review of the actual coilovers, talking about any good and bad points, and also discussing a little bit more about the ride height. I know it doesn't look anywhere near as low on camera as it does in person. It's just one of those things. I feel like the arch gap and the way the wheels fit and stuff like that, just it looks a little bit better in person than it does. You know, looking at the R32 now compared to what it used to look like in the garage with it being higher, you can definitely notice the difference. And like I said, with the way the car feels now driving around, it's just so nice. But at the moment, the car is on the standard height that the teen or Tyne company give it out as. Everything is still as it was from the factory. I think it's a great height for the car. I think most people will be happy with this. It's very much a good height where it's not too low to the ground. You can still drive it around pretty much anywhere and not get too annoyed with any speed bumps or anything like that. But yeah, it's been great. I hope you have all enjoyed this video. It's a bit of a longer video, but I wanted to bring you all along the process, enjoy working on the GTR, and just experience the highs and lows with it. That's the main thing. So with everything done now with the old exhaust off and the new exhaust sound, let's do a little bit of back to back with regards to the old exhaust sound and just hear how different they both sound. Ooh, that sounds good. I do want to say thank you to my brother and my sister-in-law for letting me use the garage, and you know, all the help that my brother also provided me whilst I was working on the car, and also helping me out with the actual parts themselves. If you have enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing to the channel. Please also give the video a good old thumbs up, and leave a comment if you want me to do anything in particular, or see something, or you know, go into anything in more detail. And yeah, also, like I said, subscribe, because there's always going to be more content with regards to the GTR on the channel. This is the dream car, and I've got a good few ideas of what I want to do with my dream car. Keep an eye out for all of that. And also follow me on Instagram. I'll try and post a bit more regularly on there. I've kind of not been that great on Instagram. I've been using it as more of a messaging service than anything. But I'm going to be trying to get more content posted up on Instagram. More pictures, GTR, any car really. So I'm going to try and get more onto Instagram. But yeah, I look forward to seeing you all in the next video. Peace out. Bye guys.